Herzlich willkommen zu unserem Webinar Japan, erneuerbare Energien mit Schwerpunkt auf Wasserkraft und Biomasse. Wir sind hier im Außenwirtschaftscenter Tokio und mein Kollege Luigi Finocchiaro, den einige von den Teilnehmern, wir haben uns die Liste kurz angeschaut, auch persönlich kennen, hat zwei ausgewählte Experten für Sie gefunden, die Ihnen das Thema näher bringen. Und weil unsere beiden japanischen Experten kein Deutsch sprechen, sondern wir das Webinar auf Englisch abhalten, werde ich jetzt gleich auf Englisch switchen, damit auch unsere Experten die Einleitung hören können. Hello from Tokyo, my name is Christina Schlösser. I'm the Wirtschaftsdelegate here in Tokyo, and we are pleased that so many of you already at this early hour in Europe joined our webinar on renewable energies in Japan with a focus on hydropower and biomass. Those are two sectors. I mean, Austria and Japan have been working over years together in the field of renewable energy and above all on hydro and biomass. But looking at the current developments in Japan, might it be their goal of becoming carbon neutral by 2050, their extension of the feed-in tariffs and other new laws is a good point for us to bring you again an updated information from those two subsectors of renewable energy. Why? Because they are important for our Austrian companies, for our exporters, but we see a lot of interest in Japan to work together with Austrian companies. As I said, Luigi Finocchiaro and the two experts coming later, they know those things. I just read a bit, and in preparation of this webinar, I think one word that describes the whole industry in Japan, energy, electricity, and renewable, is fragmented. From who owns the grids, who feeds in where, how can it happen that one topic which is very big here, for example, not for Austrian companies, but in general, floating wind energy parks. Even if you build them, you don't know how the electricity they generate will find its way to the households in Japan. So I think it's at a very important point in time to be here today to learn about the current developments, how Austria and Japan can work closer together in those two fields. That's all from my side. I will leave the room and listen to this webinar and hand over to my colleague Luigi Finocchiaro. He will explain our technical system to you, and obviously he will introduce our two expert speakers. One of them I had the chance, I was lucky enough to meet him a few months ago on the occasion of the visit of our Austrian Federal Minister, Mr. Tocznik. He was there, gave already a presentation. So we're excited that he now took time again to share his knowledge and know-how with those of you who could not make it to Japan at that time. But we have a second speaker, and Luigi will explain everything to you. We are looking forward to an interesting 1-hour webinar. And please, as you know, always, even after the webinar, with any questions, just always contact us. We are here to support you and your needs in Japan. Thank you very much. Luigi, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much. So, guten Morgen, meine Damen und Herren. Ich bin Luigi Finocchiaro, Senior Commercial Officer im Außenwirtschaft Tokyo, and I will also switch to English for now. And I'm very happy that you took the time to participate in this webinar. We will speak about the Japanese market for renewable energy, particularly in the field of biomass and micro hydro. Today we have two distinguished speakers. One is Dr. Takanobu Aikawa, Senior Researcher on the Renewable Energy Institute here in Tokyo. And after this, Mr. Kenichiro Kojima, Executive Director of the Pellet Club in Japan. He will share with us his practical experience about doing this biomass projects in Japan. Both of them are, so to speak, good friends of the Außenwirtschaftscenter Tokyo since even before my time, and have supported me when I started here in 2005 in this renewable energy business. So without further ado, I would like to make a brief survey to understand, so that we can all understand who is actually participating in this webinar. And we will read out now the first question. It is about describe who you, what's your type of business? Are you in the biomass energy or in the energy solution? Are you a planning engineering company? Are you a manufacturer, which I guess most of you are? Or are you a trading or wholesale company, or a service provider, such as I know there are a few translators that we have a business sometimes. And in the meantime, let me just explain about a few house rules here in this webinar. So first of all, this webinar are being recorded, so there's no need for you to record it, take screenshots. Also because not all presenters are willing to share their PowerPoint, so just listen to it live, and what will be available we will be sharing later, and also on our YouTube channel. You can see the part of the webinar that has been made available for you. So now we have about like over 40% of the participants who are choosing, and now 50%, and we see we have predominantly planning and engineering companies, and a third of you are manufacturers or producers of energy solution. Now we have just wait a little bit more. So we have 54% of you who has responded to the poll. And okay, so now 60%, and we just wait a little bit more. Then we will have another question. So in order not to lose much time, I will try to. Okay, now we are on 70. We passed 70, nearly 75% of you have responded. So we can share the results, these preliminary, so to speak, results with you, and you can see that it is well balanced as of, so with 75% of respondents, we have a good balance of 1/3 of you are in the biomass business, 16% are in the hydro energy solution, and a third of you are planning and engineering company, 11% are trading or wholesale company, and another 11% is consulting company and service provider. Now I go to the second question, which is more about Japan, in the sense that you had already some experience with the Japanese market, or yes or no, or maybe you had it in the past but not anymore. This could be also the case. And we will just wait a little bit that the questions are being responded. Okay, I see the responses are coming in slowly. So the question is, we are exporting to Japan or also sourcing products or service from Japan. Probably in this field, the second question is sourcing from Japan, even though the yen is I mean, the euro is quite high compared to the yen. It's maybe a good chance to import products from Japan, but I have the strong impression that in this particular field, micro hydrogen, small hydrogen, and biomass, this maybe except a few components or similar, it is maybe the case that most of you are exporting products or services to Japan. Now we have over 75% of the respondents, and if you see, I was right once in a while. There's actually 0% who are sourcing products from Japan, or over half of them are already currently exporting to Japan, and 30% have had business relations in the past, which means we are here to revitalize these relationships that you had, and please send us an email separately through the normal email tokyo@wko.at, and 15% had no experience yet. Okay, so then I think we can close the survey, and then you have also the possibility to write some questions to the speaker in the chat if you would like to share them with the participants, or also send us an email at tokyo@wko.at where we can reply to you separately in an email. So this, without much further ado, I would like to give the floor to Dr. Takanobu Aikawa, our first speaker, and we are giving him the word right now. Dozo.
Okay, thank you for kind introduction, Rich-san. Can you see my screen, PowerPoint? Okay, yeah, it seems good. So let me start. Yeah. Okay, so good morning, everyone in Austria. My name is Taka Aikawa from Renewable Energy Institute, or REI. Thank you for having me today. As the first speaker of today's event, I will give you the overview of market opportunities of bioenergy and touching upon small hydro, and specific cases how bioenergy will be shown, provided by Kojima-san shortly after my presentation. Okay, so let me start with the introduction of REI. Actually, REI is a small but independent think tank which aims to deploy all types of renewables, including bioenergy and hydro. This January, we organized a bioenergy symposium in which global experts as well as Japanese practitioners talked about recent development and issues. In particular, Mr. Christian Lakos from World Bioenergy Association kindly shared their activities as well as Austrian experience in the bioenergy development. Okay, so from now on, I will deep dive into today's content. The first slide shows the primary energy supply of two countries. A few things should be highlighted. Firstly, the primary energy supply of Japan is more than 10 times larger than that of Austria because of its huge population and economic size. And secondly, Japan still heavily relies on fossil fuels, especially coal, with 1/4, roughly 25%, while its contribution to your country is limited only 7.5%. And thirdly, renewables in Austria is more than 30%, which is triple to that in Japan. So there we need to catch up. And as a result of that, Austria has smaller figure in CO2 emissions per capita comparing with Japan, although the energy consumption in per capita is considerably larger. It should be also highlighted that the land use pattern.
We cannot see your presentation. You need to move the slides. Sorry to interrupt you.
So yes, just a moment. You can't see the slide move. How about this one?
Now we can see it. Now we can see it.
Sorry. I'm so sorry for everyone. I already showed the first two slides. The first one is introduced the recent development, and the second chart slide describes the primary energy supply of both two countries. So I'm so sorry to skip those two slides, and let me continue to from this one. So as I mentioned, the primary energy supply is different from among two countries, and as a result, CO2 emissions in per capita is much larger than in Japan than Austria. And it should be highlighted that the land use pattern and use structure is also different from from two countries. And also we can share the common interests in utilizing forest resources. Okay, so next in this slide, as the basis of today's discussion, I think many of you are curious to know the forest sector. Here are some key numbers to describe the forest industry of the two countries. As already shown in the previous slide, Japan has huge forest resource, and timber harvesting is mainly from made in coniferous plantation, sugi or hinoki, mainly, with 14 million hectares, which is 2.5 times larger than Austrian forest. However, the magnitude of roundwood production is not so significant, only about 1.5 times larger. And if we look at wood products, it is surprising to see that Austria's sawnwood production was slightly larger than in Japan, while Japan produces more low-grade products such as pulp and paper. And regarding bioenergy, while Japan produces more wood fuels, mainly for electricity production, however, the amount of wood pellet production in Austria was 10 times larger than that in Japan. Okay, so from now on, I will show you the recent development of small hydro, and bioenergy power plants under the feed-in tariff scheme, which is Japanese main incentive scheme for renewables. The first slide is on hydro. The left chart describes the historical development of small hydro projects in gigawatts supported by the feed-in tariff scheme. As of September 23, 2023, we have 1.2 gigawatt operating capacities in dark blue, as well as 1.3 gigawatt under development. So in total, 2.5 gigawatt projects are supported by FIT scheme. And moreover, there is 9.6 gigawatt that were constructed before FIT scheme started in 2012, some of which may be upgraded with new facilities. When we look at the breakdown of the total capacity in the right pie chart, you will find that relatively larger projects, such as above 5 megawatt, occupy 3/4 of the total capacity. And the government aims that 1.1 to 1.9 gigawatt will be added from 2019 to 2030, which indicates that there are opportunities in this decade for technology providers, including you. And so next slide is about bioenergy. The operation capacities in dark green have been increasing steadily and reached to 5.0 gigawatt so far. And if we add projects without support of FIT, the total capacity exceeds to 6 gigawatt. However, you may find that the registered capacities are stable, this one. Yes, it is true that under development projects are decreasing as soon as some of them start operation, which indicates that the growth will go to plateau in this decade. The right pie chart breakdown of FIT projects capacity show the ordinary wood and agricultural residue category dominates almost 3/4. Since most of the fuels, wood pellets and palm kernel shell or PKS are imported, it has triggered the sustainability discussion in Japan. What is important for you might be that nearly 500 projects under 2 megawatt category. The main technology of this category is gasification. So some of you are interested in providing technologies this category. Okay, and I know that many of you are interested in biomass bioheat, but I have to admit that the heat market for bioenergy is not so active or exciting when you compare it with the power sector. As I am showing, the total number of biomass boilers in Japan is limited only less than 2,000. And the breakdown in the right chart shows that manufacturing and agriculture are the two main installers. And in addition, public buildings, including local hotspot, are the most common users of small-scale biomass boilers. It is because the power sector is strongly supported by FIT scheme, while there are no clear incentives for renewable heat, including biomass. However, I would like to inform you that so many biomass boilers from Austria can be seen in Japan, as pictures below. Yeah, but despite of less attention from the policy, the economics has been favorable for biomass fuels like this chart shows. I am showing the historical trends of two major fossil fuels, heating oil for residential market and heavy oil for the industrial users in the same unit or Japanese yen per gigajoule. To make a comparison, the price range of wood chip from 12,000 Japanese yen per dry ton to 20,000, which corresponds to 2 FIT categories. As you can see, even when you pay more for wood chip, it has been competitive with two fossil fuels for 20 years. And also, that carbon pricing has been now discussed in the policy discussion in Japan. And compared to the EU ETS situation, the amount, the cost will be smaller, but in the later of 2020s, it is predicted that the fossil fuels have to pay the cost of carbon emissions. So the situation will be much favorable for biomass or fuels. And thing is, whether we have enough food resources in local level. The left chart compares forest area per capita of Japanese prefectures with European countries. It is very interesting to see that there are 10 Japanese prefectures, including Yamagata or Nagano, which some of you may be familiar with the name, that have larger forest area per capita than in Austria. And what's more, if we analyze in municipal level, our right map shows percentage of local municipalities by color gradient, of which demand of the residential and the commercial sector can be supplied with only local biomass resources. There are some prefectures colored by green, which means that more than half of municipalities can be self-sufficient with local biomass. And this favorable condition can be supported by the local decarbonization policy of Ministry of Environment, or MOE. Actually, MOE is the minister which is responsible for the national climate policy. But interestingly, it focuses on utilization of local renewables because they are already available technologies, which makes decarbonization measures possible to be started immediately. Although the national level strategy often focuses on mainly high-tech technologies such as hydrogen. And moreover, MOEs is planning to work with local communities, since more and more local governments committed to be carbon neutral by 2050, as shown in the map left. And to accelerate the local decarbonization measures, MOE recently launched the large-scale public funding projects that supports 100 areas that aim to be carbon neutral by 2030. So far, 74 areas were selected, and they will install all types of renewable energies, not only solar PV, but also biomass and small hydro to realize the decarbonization of approved in a certain area. And for your reference, in the fiscal 2024, more than 40 trillion yen, Japanese yen, is allocated to this project. And one thing that we have to consider before launching such kind of local initiatives would be development of innovative business model. And I think energy service company or ESCO model can be one of the options. I'm showing the case of Tsushima, which is the small islands in Nagasaki Prefecture, in which the energy service company installed a 500 kilowatt wood chip boiler and provide heating service based on the contract with facility manager appointed by the Tsushima city. Seeing the same model in Austria, it would be great if we could learn from each other's experience. Yeah, the reason why I'm stressing the importance of collaboration would be the fact that there are so many books written about Austria by Japanese authors. And this year I added a book on renewable energy on the right side. So it shows that considerable number of experts are interested in learning your experiences and knowledge. So in my opinion, those issues should be integrated in local level. In other words, strategy of local municipalities for sustainable transition or sustainable development could be encouraged or facilitated through collaboration with Austria in various fields. So I hope that we could work together more, not only in bioenergy, but also in the broader perspective for the future development. And this is the my final slide. As you can see, the chart describes the historical trend of exchange rate of euro to Japanese yen. So the rate has been increasing after the corona pandemic, and the current rate is historically high with 167 Japanese yen to 1 euro. So which is not the ideal condition for European exporters. And actually the poll at the beginning suggests that there are a lot of participants who are already doing exporting business. So yeah, so I think it might be interesting if anybody has a plan to develop a new, to make an investment in Japan, to develop a new, new business, such as developing a new boiler factory or new projects in Japan. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much for your attention, and sorry for the first, some misoperation in the first part, but I'm happy to take any questions from you. Thank you.
Gut, ich werde jetzt wirklich nur in wenigen Minuten kurz über den Markteintritt und Vertrieb in Japan kurz etwas sagen. Und zwar, wir haben ja, Herr Dr. Aikawa und auch Herr Kojima haben ja kurz erwähnt, Einspeisetarife in Japan, das Feed-in Tariff, die sind relativ großzügig in Japan. Jetzt habe ich hier in der Slide hat eben die Feed-in Tariffs für Kleinwasserkraft und für Biomasse. Man kann es natürlich doch mehr in Detail suchen und diese Slide ist zur Verfügung und wir haben schon mehrere Publikationen ein bisschen ins kleinste Detail darüber berichtet. So, falls noch Fragen dazu sind, bitte schickt uns einfach eine E-Mail tokyo@wego.rt und das ist eine Slide, die ich normalerweise immer benutze. Das sind die Typologien der Geschäftspartner in Japan. Das warum? Weil es ist eigentlich die Wahl des geeigneten Geschäftspartners. Es ist eigentlich der wichtigste Faktor beim Markteintritt. Wie Sie sehen, ich habe jetzt hier mal ein bisschen, sagen wir, lustigerweise anhand japanische Ukiyo-Holzdrucke benutzt. Aber zum Beispiel, wir haben das japanische Handelshaus, das Shogo Shosha, das sind die großen Namen, Sumitomo, Mitsui, wie wir sie alle kennen. Und natürlich, dann hat man zu einem eine große finanzielle Sicherheit. Zahlungen gibt es ohnehin in Japan überhaupt kein Problem, aber natürlich, man hat den großen Power eines großen Namens. Das sind auch große Handelshäuser, die auch sehr, sehr oft in Europa schon eine Niederlassung haben. Die Kommunikation ist relativ einfach. Natürlich, was ist der Nachteil? Der Nachteil ist natürlich, dass die haben eine dynamische interne Rotation innerhalb des Unternehmens. Das heißt, euer Ansprechpartner von heute ist vielleicht nächstes Jahr oder in 2 Jahren nicht mehr euer Ansprechpartner und Sie müssen ständig immer alles von neu wieder anfangen. Daneben, Sie sehen das Europäische Handelshaus. Es sind zwar einige schon mit langer Geschichte, Ende 19. Jahrhunderts, mehrere Namen dazu, Gatelius, Korenz, Rickermann und desto mehr, desto besser. Da haben Sie natürlich den Vorteil, dass man versteht Sie sozusagen auf der europäischen Mentalität in einer Weise und man geht auch proaktiv euer Produkt verkaufen und nicht unbedingt für den Kunden kaufen, was ja meistens die japanischen Handelshäuser machen. Und das ist auch eine sehr, sehr gute Lösung. Ich glaube, einige von euch, die heute Teilnehmer sind, haben sich für diese Lösung entschieden. Eine andere Lösung noch ist das spezialisierte Handelshaus, das sogenannte Senmon Shosha. Das sind Handelshäuser, die nicht alles Mögliche haben, sondern eben sich auf einen gewissen Bereich spezialisieren, wie zum Beispiel erneuerbare Energien und daneben auch Maschinen oder die auch komplementäre Produkte dazu haben. Das ist auch eine sehr, sehr gute Lösung. Die letzte Lösung, die öfters gefragt wird, aus mehreren Gründen, ist der sogenannte Handelsvertreter, der Lone Wolf. Hier, das hat sicherlich Vorteile, einerseits, weil man hat weniger Aufschlag und man eventuell kann man direkt mit den Kunden verhandeln. Also 2 Faktoren muss man bedenken. Einerseits, dass diese Lone Wolf Vertreter, das sind meistens Leute in meinem Alter, die halt eben kurz rund um die Pension sind. Das heißt, die werden auch sicherlich nicht langfristig weiter, also in den nächsten 20 Jahren vielleicht noch arbeiten wollen oder können. Das muss man auch mit. Also Nachwuchsnachfolge ist ein wichtiger Faktor. Und natürlich, das funktioniert sehr, sehr gut, wenn wir für euch jemanden finden, der extrem gut eingeführt ist in dieser Sparte. Ansonsten natürlich japanische Firmen oder Kunden tendieren sehr, sehr stark, desto größer, desto wichtiger, desto namhafter die Firma ist, die Vertrauensbasis aufzubauen. nur diese 4, aber wir können uns natürlich gerne bilateral unterhalten, von welchen Möglichkeiten für euch die besten sind, aber diese wollte ich mal kurz einleiten. Ich glaube, ich brauche nicht groß, sagen wir, Erfolgsdestination Japan groß zu werben. Das Japan hat eben eine hervorragende Infrastruktur, hat einen großen Markt und eine hohe Zahlungsmoral. Das braucht man alles gar nicht zu erwähnen, aber ich will es nochmal betonen, dass Japan ist eine gute Erfolgsdestination, obwohl es vielleicht schwieriger ist am Anfang oder halt eben umständlicher aufgrund der Distanz und der Kultur und der Distanz ist man natürlich benachteiligt. Noch die letzte Slide, alles was wir rund um Japan noch machen, Fachmessen, Webinare, so wie dieses Abkommen und hat eben direkt ein Telefon und dann abschließend noch, ich möchte kurz die Gruppenausstellung auf der Forestrise. Es gibt noch freie Stellen, bitte entweder an uns oder an unseren Kollegen in Wien, Magister Markus Kumpelmeier, wenden. Die Forestrise ist die Forst-, Biomasse- und Kleinwasserkraftmesse, Fachmesse in Japan. Wir freuen uns auf eure Anmeldung oder Anfragen. Und das ist eigentlich alles. Q&A haben wir jetzt die Zeit nicht mehr. Wie gesagt, Wegbegleiter von Ort, Business-Delegierte Frau Magister Christina Schölzer. Ich bin hier für Maschinen, Biomasse und erneuerbare Energie zuständig. Und dies gesagt, kurz wieder auf Englisch. So this said, thank you very much everybody for participating. Thank you to Dr. Aikawa. Thank you to Kojima-san. And we will be waiting for you to contact us. Thank you very much.